tryna go hard like Santan.
Hello there, welcome to another New Spurs Order pod. We're live, we're going to cash it in. I'll be your host, Owen, aka X-Pac, and I'm joined by two others for this evening's recording. Firstly, Sting, Jack, how you doing?
Yeah, not bad. Been a tiring long week, but otherwise good. Can't complain.
Yeah, I hope you had some good rest at the W Hotel though. Booker T, how you doing?
Very well, very well. Very similar to Jack. Long week, but actually it's a nice early end to it with a day off tomorrow, so can't really complain.
Treat yourself. All weekend off as well? Or?
No, back on Saturday, mate. Yeah, mate.
Fair enough. Okay. Well, we might as well get straight into it. Obviously, we're off the back of a win at home. Obviously, previously, before that, we did lose at home to Wolves. Guys, were we confident coming into this game, or did you kind of have the apprehension? And what did he change? Any changes to the lineup, Jack?
I thought we'd win. I mean, it will be an absolute shock if we didn't against the Palace side. That they got a little bit of a new manager bounce, but ultimately it's still a poor side with key injuries. So I thought, anything less than a comprehensive, comfortable win would have been disappointing, to be honest. I thought we should play well in theory, but I didn't necessarily think we would based on the way we've been playing in the last month or so, relative to what we saw earlier in the season, I'd say. I thought we'll do enough to win, which we did. So that's ultimately how I felt. I thought this was the game where we should start kicking up the gears in terms of performances, and then start a good run. But we'll get into how we played after.
Yeah, or even now, I mean, Tops, were you confident going into the game? And, how do you kind of feel that the start of the game, or, I mean, in general, overall, the first half went?
How was I feeling about the game? Positive. I genuinely was feeling positive because historically as well at home, we've been quite good against Palace. Son tends to be someone who scores like quite a lot against Palace. Even though, we've kind of been muddling through games in the last sort of 5-6 weeks, I still feel that we had enough quality, and most of the guys being fresh, back and fit, coming back into the team. Yeah, in my mind, it felt like a game that we should really be kind of winning comfortably. And to be honest with you, in the way that it started, it kind of represented, I think, a little bit of a shift in how teams perceive us. I think us being at home against a team like Palace, who are kind of in the lower half and would be seen as an inferior opposition, these sort of teams are going to sit back and they're going to sit in a low block. If you look at the way they set up, it was almost identical to the way Wolves did in the previous week, where they were set up in a 3-4-3 with two defensive midfielders in the double pivot, and they were looking to just kind of get us in transition. But how can I put it? In comparison to Wolves were very comfortable in trying to hit us in transition, whereas Palace were very, very patient. They basically didn't give us very much space in that first half. They didn't let us exploit any of the half spaces. Maddison didn't have much luck. We didn't get much ball into Werner and Kulu, in which they could exploit. And to be honest with you, I felt that first half, Anderson, Richards, and the captain Ward, they had a fairly comfortable first half, and it didn't really evoke much confidence in the way that we were attacking. It was a very dire sort of. Well, it was dire in the sense that there was nothing that was clear cut outside of the Werner chance, but it also kind of led me to believe that Palace's game plan was working, and despite us having lots of possession, which is generally a good thing. And sustaining lots of that possession in their third, there was nothing that was really clear cut that was giving me a reason to feel like, okay, the breakthrough is coming.
Yeah, very, very good summary. I only had a slight bit of apprehension going into the game, even though I knew I was very confident we'd win. Like, it just seems to be whenever we had like a 2 week break or so, we would be really flat starting out. And obviously going into it as well, we were kind of accused, or there was a feeling that we were conceding too many chances and just not controlling games well enough. And yeah, it was obviously time to see an upturn of that. Now we're just getting our players back and then getting them match fit as well, and just playing together in consecutive games. And I thought Bissouma would be a big part of that if he can just return to any semblance of form. Thought we had a decent game overall. I didn't think he took many risks, but I felt like he was showing for the ball and just controlling things well, in the sense of he was just keeping things ticking over, and that allowed us to at least keep really good territory and really good control. So for me, it was good to see him back. Jack, how do you kind of feel it all kind of played out?
Yeah, I agree with the Basuma thing. I thought we had a good game, and um, he was quite key in us sustaining some degree of pressure in the second half. We've seen that before from him, cutting those passing lanes and driving the ball forward. Didn't do as much today because he didn't really need to, because Palace obviously was so deep. But yeah, I think I'll start with the first half again. Didn't show a good measure of on the ball control. Off the ball, we're fine. I didn't think Palace didn't really look a threat in any way, shape, or form. But on the ball, the zip, the intensity, it just felt incredibly flat. I thought one person I want to speak about actually, Bentancur, hasn't adapted to this system yet since he's come back from injury. So to me, that's a concern, because a player of that quality should be doing better, adapting a lot quicker, which tells me, is he a player that's better in transition? Is he someone that's good for a team that's, tries to control the game or plays with the territorial advantage? So few concerns there in terms of the medium to long term. Second half, again, not amazing, but we did more than enough to win the game. We created enough chances. Efficiency is something that me and Tops definitely always get onto the players for. That final third is something that we drastically need fixing. I thought, despite Kulusevski having moments, again, didn't think he was good at all. Brennan came on, obviously, contributed the goal, the assist. But again, I'm still going to have my question marks over him as a whole, but fair play to him for coming on and changing the game and having a pretty immediate impact, I'd say. But I think overall it tells you how important players like Sarr are on this side. I think his energy is pressing, but also his on the ball ability and his intelligence as well. His selection of timing to drive into the box at times as well. It's all key. It's all key to what we do, and that allows Maddison to drift into positions that he feels more comfortable falling into, almost in like a free role. So overall, I think this is always, for us as fans, it's something that we've learned, that certain players might potentially not be compatible in the system. But again, it's a performance that we got the job done, but I wanted a better performance because of the caliber of opponent we had in Crystal Palace, and I wanted us to sort of gain momentum as we get into the business end of the season.
Yeah, I mean, going into Palace is obviously favourable position, and apparently there was a few problems with Sarr in the build-up. That there's some kind of back issue or something like that. But do you think most of his issues are is he down to match practice, or you genuinely think he's just an unsuited profile of a player?
I'm not sure. Thing is, with with the Uruguay side, the Juve side, it was that they were again don't watch South American internationals that much, but from what we've seen in World Cups and international tournaments, they are transitional teams. They are teams that don't want to always control the ball, always want to have that territorial advantage, always want possession in good central parts of the field. So Conte, like Bentancur thrived in Conte's system when that wasn't the case. That was the best we've seen of him in a Spurs shirt, and even in the World Cup where he had that before he got injured there, he was playing amazingly. It was there was that driving run he did against, I can't remember who it was against now.
Portugal.
Yeah, it might have been Portugal. Yeah, no, it was Portugal because they should have won that game, shouldn't they? That chance that he created for himself. So yeah, you do wonder what kind of player he is, how adaptable he is into Ange's sort of philosophy. So again, I did initially give him the he's coming back to fitness, that sort of excuse, but he's had a good run of games now and it's still not really clicked for him. I think against Man United it was good. Obviously took his goal well on top of all that, but other than that, it's been a bit tricky, and I wonder if that's a compatibility issue with Bissouma or Sarr, because I think he played with Højbjerg that game, didn't he? So
yeah, he hasn't really had many games with Bissouma, has he? I think that might have even been the first start with them starting together for the first time.
Yeah,
maybe.
And that was an out of form Biss, wasn't it? I think after a few suspensions. So yeah, I'm concerned because he's such a good player. He was our best midfielder. He was one of our best players by far last season. So you don't want to lose a player like that, and you don't want a player like that to be wasted on the field. So yeah, it's a sticky one. Time will tell for me.
Yeah, I mean, I think I'm still giving him the benefit of the doubt personally, because I've seen him play in a controlled way under Sarri, albeit like a handful of games, but I've seen him be controlled because those other Juventus sides were very ugly and Uruguay are a little bit chaotic. But yeah, at the same time, coming back to match fitness, he's just changed positions again because I can hear the argument of people that obviously say he's better suited in Ange's structure as an 8 as opposed to a 6. And I hear that because I see all the qualities he's got going forward. I do think he can do a 6, play as a 6. I'm sure he could do a 6 as well. Yeah, but yeah, playing as an 8 ideal, or even like as part of a double 6 type system. I think I've mentioned it before, like in a similar way to how Xabi Alonso uses his double 6s. I still think he can do that, but again, let's just come into match fitness. He wasn't happy when he came off. I don't know if that was a frustration with Ange or a frustration with his own performance. But yeah, he was having a little bit of a strop on the bench, weren't he? But yeah, I just want to summarize just a little bit, just to give us, like, before we kind of go on to the goal scorers and stuff, I just want to put a bit of a shout out to Mickey van der Ven, who was obviously just superb at snuffing out the
best centre back
counters that Palace had, where we were very controlled and limited. Palace to one opening and obviously like one free kick, which they scored. Romero did almost have a bit of a sloppy moment. Well, he had a heavy touch. Mateta should have done a lot better with that opening. Like, he's bowling down on goal. He just takes almost too good of a touch. Like, he just keeps it in his feet, where if he just touched it out in front of him to release it for a shot, like, that would have been a very good opportunity for Palace. I think it was still 0-0 then as well. So yeah, I think we got let off the hook on that one. But yeah, Tops, what were your thoughts? Just briefly on Bentancur, and then I see just kind of how the rest of the game played out, because I'm absolutely dying to hear your thoughts on that super sub, actually. So you crack on.
Bentancur is a funny one. First of all, I'm actually giving him the benefit of the doubt. I still feel that a player who's had 2 of the injuries that he sustained, they're not going to take any time quick to come back. I think people kind of forget the impact that these kind of injuries tend to have on of players of this level. And whilst there are some games that can be driven by things such as the atmosphere, adrenaline, just freshness, I kind of feel that like for us to really see where he's at, we've still got to wait. I'd say at least another quarter of a season, maybe even half a season, till he feels sort of fully himself and comfortable. Um, Interestingly, I'm starting to feel that his profile is rather similar to Basuma's. I'm starting to feel like the way that they both play, they're both very good technically. They're both quite press resistant. They don't have amazing passing ranges, and they're kind of very good in interchanging.
Mm.
Uh, And I sometimes feel that like they also have very similar tenacious sort of attributes as midfielders. And I feel one of the things that makes the Sarr addition in that midfield so good and so positive, I think, is because Sarr, whilst he isn't as, in my opinion, accomplished technically, he offers so much on the physical and the out of possession that kind of makes up for a lot of what the other two maybe don't do. And sometimes I feel like you're almost you're almost giving yourself a midfield that is almost too technical and it's too cute sometimes. And actually, you want someone who's going to maybe open the play up, stretch his legs, someone who has the ability to cover big spaces. Because whilst Bentancur and Bissouma are good in defensive actions, they're more tenacious than actual defensive out of possession kind of guys. Whereas Sarr really is kind of someone um, who's very good at that. That's I think one of his biggest attributes. But generally, I mean, the second half, it's kind of harsh because you're like he comes off soon after the free kick, which he was also booked for, which led to the goal. So then you're kind of like, is Ange upset that he's given the foul away and been booked and taken him off, or is he genuinely thinking that we need to change the way the game has gone? So I can kind of understand, and it's been a pattern and consistent pattern whereby around the 60th minute, 65th minute, he's kind of taken Bentancur off. And probably as the game is, as we're losing and Bentancur probably thinks he wants to still influence the game, I can understand why he would be upset and annoyed. But generally, second half, really up until the 77th minute, in my opinion, it felt a little bit the same. I felt like the tempo increased a little bit. We recycled the ball like really quite well. We did, and I felt like even our rest defense was completely comfortable. Even when we were attacking, I never ever felt that outside of Palace's goal that we were going to be a team to give up any sort of clear attacks or clear transitions. So it was really the onus was on us as an attacking team to create something. And to be honest with you, once Johnson came on, once Sarr came on, the game looked a little bit different. It did. It did. I actually am liking Johnson in this role as a super sub, and as much as I've critiqued him, I think this is his role. I think when I think about the games that was a 13 game stretch that he had where he played as a starter, there's too much in his game, in my opinion, that doesn't translate well as a starter, in my opinion. And actually, his attributes are best placed someone who's going to stretch defenses, get in behind, make active sort of decisions in the final third when players are tired. And to be honest with you, he did this really well. He did this really well, which I was actually very happy about. I mean, the way he set up Werner for Werner's goal was really good. Um, his impact for Son's goal was also really important. So I'm starting to see positives in his game, which I think can really make a difference for us. But like Jack mentioned, I have deep, deep issues in the way that we attack. I really still do. I really, really still do. And I can't put my finger on it, whether it's player profiling, whether it's the fact that a lot of our attacks are centrally focused and teams who play in a mid to low block, they're so comfortable in doing so. when we attack in this way, especially the way that we recycle the ball so centrally, and we have wingers who don't use the outside. We have a winger who loves to recycle the ball infield, and we have a left winger who only wants to use his left foot when he's not left footed. There's so much that's like kind of wrong with the way that we attack, in my opinion. And it's not only because, in my opinion, I think the profiles are a bit off, but I also feel there's not enough of a consistency. It almost feels strange that a lot of our goals are basically back post tap-ins, and I'm trying to understand why this is the case, but it's working.
It reminds me of early Pep-ish,
Yeah,
early-ish Pep.
it's working.
Raheem Sterling back post.
Yeah, and to be honest with you, I think like it's sort of gilt edged. On one side, it's a testament to the style and the philosophy, because it means you're actually generating enough possession, enough sustained possession in the final third to create these opportunities where people can meet these passes at the back post. But it also kind of seems one dimensional. We've lost the art, in my opinion, of taking long shots. We've lost the art of interchanging quick passes in between players in the middle part of the pitch, and I'm a little bit worried that if the attack isn't developed enough, it will become kind of one dimensional, and we'll leave ourselves open against better teams.
Do you think we have players capable of those long shots?
Yeah, we do, but we don't take enough. I know it sounds crazy because we actually, I think, what did we? I think we took
No, I think we do.
27. I think
Madison and Son can as well.
I think we took 27 shots in that match, something like that. So we do have the players to, but I just don't think we do with the frequency that we should, in my opinion. Against these kind of teams, sometimes it does take something like a long shot to open a game up. Madison's capable of it. Son is capable of it. I've definitely seen Basuma do it before. I've definitely seen Sarr do it before. You know, there's definitely players that can. So even lots of different things like this, I think we should try and kind of take advantage of.
Do you think it's a case we don't do as many long shots is because we don't trust our counter press enough yet, in case we turn it over or a shot gets blocked?
Yeah, I think to an element that is also the case. I mean, our ability to sustain pressure is, in my opinion, at the moment limited, especially in the final third. Not sustaining pressure in general. In the first and second phase, I think we do it very well. I think in the third phase, sustaining and keeping the ball in the final third has been a problem. That tends to put our rest defense under a lot of pressure. I think as we become more used to the system and our counter pressing improves, this will improve. But even like, a small improvement that we saw on Saturday, we did reduce Palace to, very few chances, keeping the ball in the final third. And like, when I talk about recycling the ball, it's not necessarily a negative thing. You can have as much possession as you want. It's more about how you use that possession and how is it applied in attacking scenarios. And that's where I'm having a little bit of a concern.
That's very fair. Obviously, we get into the goals. You've already alluded to them as a excellent free kick off and out of nothing. First, I have given Brennan Johnson his props. It feels a little bit shameless to praise another impact, considering like he didn't do anything particularly good from a technical aspect at this time, like he obviously has done in the past, but it was just through being bullish. It was weird because he wasn't even winning 50-50s. We were like 60-40, 70-30s to Palace. I mean, what Anderson was doing in the corner for the first goal was shambolic. Well, that whole defending for that first goal of ours by Palace was very shambolic. I think if they don't concede that, they might at least they may have even won the game, to be honest, because it wasn't looking good for us. It was like near the 80th minute at that point. Second goal, hell of a ball from Madison. He's been trying this outside the foot pass a lot since he's come back from injury. Like, I feel like he's been spamming it a bit too much, but I mean, it did come off. His style against Romero, who again still got to be counted. Apart from the little mishap, I thought he was very good. Great header, and then obviously Son scoring. I think it's his. I think what was the stat? Was it his 8th or 9th goal against Palace, and this was the first one with his right foot.
Yeah, that was a
Certainly
pretty
is.
amazing. That was a pretty amazing stat, wasn't it?
So yeah, we managed to wrap up the points. Brennan Johnson, again, you just got to commend. Let me just honestly,
No, Owen, you're nasty,
it's
man.
Hey, listen.
You are absolutely nasty,
only
Owen.
stats matter in this game. This is modern football.
This is
And he got
horrible
Fresh,
two
work for you.
assists. He did
This is
fresh leg
horrible.
type.
This
Fresh
is
leg.
horrible work from you, Owen. But I fair play. I respect it. This is horrible. Oh man, Brennan Johnson, eh? Super sub. Fucking hell.
Hold that, man. He can still, yeah, he's being useful. He's being useful. But now, see, now we're coming off the win. I do want to get onto a question JG asked because we've talked about it in the group chat a little while ago. We've talked a lot about how the club obviously want to sign a class left winger. It's a position that absolutely needs to be upgraded on. Jack, what do you feel like? How do you feel about Eze being a potential left wing candidate?
Oh yeah, fully would take him. I know he operates across the front three slash as a number 10 sort of vibe. And in a way that could work in our favour because I think he could interchange with Maddison, who can also operate on that left hand side. So I think that could be something we could look into. And he can play as a winger as well. Like as in he can play as an out and out winger. We've seen it before. So I think that versatility in him as well as his quality, I think it would be, it would be absolute quality. I still would like a proper out and out traditional wide player, like more of an Elise kind of guy. But he operates on the right, so why not both? In an ideal world. But
I also like. I know we discussed it in the week, right? But I just think it's funny, right? Is that like we actually already have a winger who basically plays as a central sort of player that doesn't really take on his man and constantly recycles the ball infield anyway. So it's just like if you're gonna have one on the left and you're gonna use him as a central player, which you have done this season, what is the problem with having a just as good one on the left who can actually interchange with Maddison and do exactly what the one on the right does? I don't see like how this is ever a bad thing. I think Eze is just as good in the way that he could play on the left wing as basically Kulusevski does. And I'm not even talking about from a output perspective. I'm talking about from his ball retention, from the ability to find the pass in the final third, for the ability to keep the ball in the final third, and also for his ability to pass and score for himself. If anything, he probably does that to a better sort of standard than Kulusevski. I mean, yeah, it's going to cost you, and yeah, he's not a true winger, but we've already got a non-true winger on the right side playing as a winger. So I don't see how it can ever be looked at as a negative thing.
Yeah, I mean, my only concern would be I like the idea of it on paper and think about it more. And when I've seen as they do really good things at Palace this year, it's always kind of been from the middle area of the pitch. So it would just be a case of how well Ange has a plan in regards to those players on that left hand side interchanging. Like obviously Maddison floats out the left a lot for us as it is. Udogi underlaps, but obviously he can overlap as well to a very good level.
Yeah.
So it just depends on the blends and if they work well together or not. I still like the idea of what Papa Blank's saying in the comments there. You could get Eze as the ball retention left winger, even though I still think Eze is very explosive in regards to being quick over 10, 15 yards. I don't know if he's like that ball carrier where you can be explosive for further on like that. But with teams setting up how they do against us, I don't think that would really affect us, to be honest. We're not a counter-attacking team anymore, so we don't need those long sprinters.
How do you think that? How would you think that works with our underlapping? Like Udogi is probably better at it and at being that inverted fullback and driving into the box and getting into good positions, because he's got a couple goals doing that as well. How do
Yeah, like, do you know
would an
what?
explosive winger be more suitable, or an Eze/Maddison kind of guy be more suitable for that?
That's an interesting one because okay, so the first movement you have with Udogie is that Udogie like I was looking at his average position throughout the season, and there's that left sort of channel, basically like between the edge of the box and the edge of the 6 yard box, where he likes to basically find himself. So you know that that's an area that you're always going to find Udogie in. Then you have Madison, who obviously plays as our 8/10, but he generally does find himself coming across into the area. And then we have, well, we've played Johnson and we played Werner there, and Werner's not really a true winger. So to be honest with you, that first of all, that passing lane is always going to be there because that's in the way that we set up. So the passing lane to whoever who could play, whether it's a high dribbly winger or if it's a ball retention wing, will always be there. It's just about how that player who receives the ball in that area chooses to use that area, whether they like to come in field and overload the space where Doggy is, or whether they could actually go outside, take the full back on, and then bring the ball back in field. I don't actually think it's a problem because I feel like we have enough movements of Madison on that left side, and we have enough coverage from players like Udogie in the way that he runs in the channels. I actually would like to see Udogie do a bit more overlapping because I feel like if there's one area of our fullbacks under Ange that I think sometimes we could improve on, it is our overlapping because I feel sometimes with our build up so centrally focused, it is quite easy for teams to sit in, especially if they're in a mid to low block, and to basically allow us to come onto them, especially if it's not narrow. But I feel that like games like against Liverpool, games against Sheffield United, where they are happy to sit on their 6 yard box, you actually do need a little bit of width. And whether that comes from your fullback, but in my opinion, I would honestly always prefer it to be from your whether it comes from your wingers, but I would always actually prefer it to always come from our fullbacks. Because if you have those guys, that's pulling the midfielders away, that's pulling the fullbacks away, and that creates a bit more space in the box. It's a difficult one. It's a difficult one. Like,
Yeah, I always think that if you have we've seen Son and and Madison as well, when they're on that left hand side, when the doggy is sort of inverting and driving into the box, they'll pick him out, and the doggy will have the opportunity to play something across.
mhm.
They'll play that diagonal pass inward so that a doggy can get on the end of it and put in near towards the edge of the box. But if you have an explosive winger who can either take on his man, carry the ball, I don't know. I feel that could be more beneficial with that inverted fullback making that darting run. I think he can time it well as well, or he can be available for a semi sort of cutback, and Udogie will be in that sort of corner, left-hand corner of the box, in a good position, ready to play a ball in. I don't know. I feel like it works. Like you said, it can work either way. Just slightly different variations of how that ball can be played into that inverted fullback, whether you have an explosive winger or someone that can pass, like a more creative player. So it'll be interesting to see. I love like Eze to to
Yeah,
join us
man.
this summer, man.
Honestly, man, if someone says Eze's available, wants to join, 60 million, I'm paying it. I genuinely, I'm paying it.
60?
Yeah, I'm
Is that
paying
what
it. I'm paying.
Okay.
I'm paying it. I'm paying it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's 50, 60 million actually worth paying rather than the
Yeah, I'm
50,
I'm
60
I'm
million
paying
we
it.
paid before.
You get a number of things there. You get a player who's coming in to a good moment in his career. He's had a decent amount of Premier League experience. He's just
Mm.
becoming an international, like fully fledged international. He provides goals. He provides assists. Yeah, yeah, and he's homegrown. I'm doing it. That's an actual player that I would be genuinely excited about from a homegrown point perspective. That I would be very very happy to see join us.
Yeah. I really like it as well. To be honest, did you guys see the players talking to Eze from that clip after the game?
Yeah, Skip
Nothing
and
wrong with
Son, and was it Brandon Austin?
Was
Yeah,
it Brandon Austin as well?
yeah, he was as well.
What's
He
he
was
doing
there.
there? Fair enough. Then.
Yeah.
If Skip actually convinces us that'll be the best thing he's ever done in this Spurs career, he ain't going to do anything better than that. I'll tell you that for free.
Oof. I felt that.
Oh man, my boy Skip, man, look how they massacred him, man.
Hey, he
Yeah,
did it to himself. He did it to himself. To be fair.
you have done that yourself. That's a little Star Wars reference from you there, Jack. I'm not sure if you realised it, but yeah. Anyway, ticket prices have gone up. Season ticket prices announced by the club yesterday at the day of recording have gone up 6%, which seems consistent with some of the other teams that have done it so far, although there is an argument to be made there trying to get up to our level. I guess they want fans with season tickets to utilise their seats for the 15 out of 19 league games. Utilisation, what he means, if you're not going to be there, then get your seat on the season ticket exchange, or just give it to a friend, gift it to a friend. Either way, as long as your seat's utilised, that's all good. Don't have any problem with that. But they have also now got rid of the senior citizen concession, which obviously gives a fair discount to those who are senior citizens. Top says you have been a season ticket holder before. I don't believe you are now. What are your thoughts?
I think it's nasty work, man. I think it's nasty work, man. I'm not gonna lie. Like this season, I mean, I haven't gone. Like I've had some changes in my life circumstances, but also part of me has just felt a little hard done by the initial member ticket increase, which is kind of one of the reasons that I haven't gone this season, especially when they served up the shower of shit that they did last year. I felt like it was a bit of a slap in the face to the common football fan at Spurs to then hike the member tickets, and to give us the excuse that yeah, the season tickets have been held. It almost gave fans, like I said in the WhatsApp group, it gives fans the illusion that the club is trying to be progressive and understanding of what is the current sort of climate. But then to turn around a year later, earlier than they would do normally, because now they've pulled the season ticket renewal date to May when it used to be June, and then to increase 6% and completely erode 50% discount or the senior citizen concession. It's nasty work, man. There's no other way about it, man. It's nasty work. They're gonna tell you, they're gonna tell you it's because we've only increased the price 1.5% over the last 5 years, and the cost of goods and services have gone up. So fucking what, man? So what? You're already the highest, or one of, if not the highest season ticket prices in the land. You have pulled in so much money. I'm talking record revenues. F1 Drive, Beyonce, Red Hot Chili Peppers. Every fucker has come through White Hart Lane this season. Everyone. And the audacity for you to come at fans after giving them a faux pause on the price of season tickets to now increase it by 6%. On top of that, when you know that one of the largest demographic of fans that actually visit Spurs are senior citizens, to completely remove that, uh, it's hilarious. It's proper nasty work, and honestly, it stinks of Levy. It complete that whole stench of this decision making stinks of Levy. That's all I'm going to say on it.
That's fair. Yeah, I won't disagree on that. I want to talk about the Tottenham Hotspur Supporters Trust. Sorry, late in the evening, where they kind of just had a reply to say, yeah, they're dismayed at the news and blah blah blah. But there was a point made by another fan, I think it's Billy Kearns, and he was saying like, you knew about the news, and not only didn't you didn't pre-warn anyone or say anything about it beforehand, even though you knew the news was coming. And yeah, it was just, it just came across like they were speaking for the sake of speaking, and they've just had a trend over the last few years, especially since COVID, that they've got an overinflated sense just of their own importance to the fan base and with the club. The club don't listen to them, by the way, but yeah, they've got the kind of self-serving attitudes that they think that the club do listen to them, and then they kind of, again, just have that overinflated sense of their own importance. And despite sharing, obviously, most of the sentiments that the fan base shares, they just seem to fail to unite them in any kind of way, shape, or form, through their own kind of self-serving agendas. I mean, wanting to have a say on the kind of backroom staff recruitment and stuff like that is one of the many questionable things I think they've done in the past. But yeah, Jack, what are your kind of thoughts on that whole kind of situation from the supporters trust, and just maybe even just them in general?
Oh, I'll start off with them in general because it's clearly, I mean, it's one of those things where they think they have, you know how, like, say there's a lot of police officers out there that have a power trip, in essence. I think they want to claim themselves as some kind of authority figure, despite being incredibly, impotent in this situation. They've got no power. They've got no control over anything. No matter what they do, no matter how hard they try, they know this as well. They can't do anything about any kind of situation. They've got little to no impact at all. The protests that happen, whether it's with the help of them or not, they're tiny. They're so minuscule, and you've got people with ukuleles outside the ground, with the most pathetic things that we've ever seen at the club. Actually, they're pointless. They don't do anything of any note really, and I think they know that as well, and I think they want to claim themselves as, they want to provide a certain kind of notoriety for themselves. They want to be seen and heard. To me, they're the kinds of people that didn't get any attention at school and are absolutely craving it now and using this as a means to get it. Do you know what I mean? I think, I don't know, there's nothing that screams likable about them as well. I think the one thing that actually annoyed me was that video they put out with the fans. There was that little sort of black and white video, and fans are sort of saying, there's different sets of different individual fans who are saying a very short sentence that is powerful, supposedly powerful set of words to the club. And yeah, it's incredibly pretentious as well. On top of all of that, it doesn't come across as for the fans in any way, shape, or form.
No, I actually agree, and there are other unself-serving kind of communities out there. Like Spurs Reach, for one, very good, obviously, for the fans as well. And you've got a group called THFC Flags who have said, following on from the cancellation of these senior citizen concessions and the ticket announcement in general, they've planned to cancel their TIFO for the Man City game. And they've said, following on from the decision again to remove it all, ticket prices, blah, blah, blah. They said that we could not in good instinct continue to raise money for this display, knowing the negative impact this ticketing policy will have on our fans. Again, just making a difference through action and not just being dismayed, in quote marks, in words. Our group relies on the loyalty of thousands of fans to spread their time designing, funding, and helping to create these displays in the stadium. These displays have actually really added well to the stadium, for what I can hear. I haven't actually been there this season yet. And obviously you've got the trumpets there now as well. And today we've seen the club exploit fan loyalty under the guise of inflation, despite being one of the richest clubs in the world. and I think we are the highest grossing now in terms of like match day, and season tickets. I think we're the highest in the Premier League. Anyway, we're told financially we're in a strong position, yet the decision to become the first team to stop offering new senior concession season tickets is an insult to fans who spend a lifetime following the team. Obviously, we know now Arsenal have done the same thing. London life, eh? You lot love it. The club acknowledged that the atmosphere in the stadium has been terrific this season, and we're delighted to have played a very small part in this alongside the likes of Rots and Spurs song sheet. Over the last 2 years, we've all worked hard with the club to improve the atmosphere, but this has been undermined by today's decision which will price out many. Anyone that has donated can email us to order for a refund. Action speaks louder than words, and yeah, they're actioning things, and I think they've united the fan base more than any kind of supporters trust so far. So yeah, big up them. Yeah, it's a bit of a nasty situation in general. I don't see it changing back. I don't even see them creating like a new kind of discount for senior citizens. Because you could have just lessened the discount, right? And even that would have been egregious. But yeah, eroding it completely is something which was pretty unexpected. Gogeta says people in the trust just love the fact that they are in it and have that title. It's actually so true. And it is a shame because, as I say, they do share a lot of the same sentiments as Spurs fans. They are proud and passionate fans. Like, I don't doubt that, but it's just the self-serving aspect which just does my nut, to be honest. Sorry, I think I interrupted.
There's just no action. It's no action. Like, I very much agree with both what you're saying and what Gogeta is saying. Sometimes it's just the title and just the status of being known that you're part of this elect group, trust advisory board, whatever stupid name they want to give themselves. But there's no action. And at the end of the day, one of the biggest things about this club is being able to create a feeling that the club and the fans are one. And genuinely, I was feeling that this feeling was starting to return. The fans were starting to be excited about their football team. They were starting to feel close to the players, understanding everything that was being mirrored from what the manager was saying. But this kind of information, this kind of notice, it just reminds everybody that actually this is how we've always been run. This is how the club chooses to do things. And it's always at their benefit, and it's always at the expense of the fans, the loyal fans, the fans who have been coming for years, supporting. Like, it's nasty work, man, because you have fans who have only been coming to stadium for a few years. You have fans who still kept their season tickets when there were closed doors during COVID. And they're still giving you the excuse that they've only increased the price 1.5% over 5 years, and the cost of goods and services have increased. What about wages? What about the common man's wages that hasn't kept up with the rate of inflation? Like, how are we supposed to suddenly just pick this up and be okay with it whilst wanting to support the team? It just prices fans out, and it's not really appropriate. And this is a decision that fully stinks of a business head and not a football head. It just does.
The thing is, right? It's a terrible thing. We all know this, right? It is price. I fully agree with you, Tops. Like, it's pricing people out the game. It's very corporate. It is very sort of the capitalist mindset of maximizing what you can get out of the people. But the people are going to pay it still. The fans are going to,
And this is it. And this is it.
You got to go with the Anfield or the Bayern Munich model of, leaving at a particular time of the game, or strong mass protests, actual protests, not someone with a bloody ukulele doing up Kumbaya. Like, we need someone that can, and not the THST, definitely not them, but a group of people that can actually influence a big portion of the fan base, or someone influential, but also someone likable, a likable group of people that fans can try and relate to. Not the THST, not the purple and yellow flag guys on Twitter who just moan about absolutely everything. Just a good set of likable, and Owen mentioned some of them who, probably need a bit more notoriety. But at the end of the day, the overarching point is people are going to still pay for it. People are still going to go to games. So as long as that happens, they're going to keep doing this. So yes, we know what businesses are like. We know what corporations are going to do in terms of maximizing profits. We live in a very capitalist society, the UK and America, a lot of American companies are involved in the club. And the Americanization of the club as well is definitely increasing with the NFL branding and whatnot. This is what's going to happen if you enable it as well. And we are, as fans that go, not necessarily me, but fans that do go to games, are going to enable this behavior. So if you want to, if you want price to go down, there has to be something bigger than a few complaints on Twitter and a tiny little protest that does nothing. You need to hit their wallets.
Yeah, agreed.
Yeah, we'll see what happens. That might have been Todd Klein's last answer and last suggestion at the club before he left for Chelsea. It is a little bit Americanized, but again, it's annoying that all the clubs are doing it, especially London clubs. Anyway, very well spoken, guys. We're gonna get onto the Aston Villa preview.
Oh,
Big game, to be honest, away from home as well. Aston Villa played tonight, actually. They played Ajax away. It was a 0-0 draw. Both teams went down to 10 men. Just having vivid memories of how we've come off a European performance to go into a game like this and just not turn up. So, wishful thinking. Just a little quick preview for myself. I want revenge on Cash in the way of 3 points. Though if he gets snapped along the way, then I actually don't mind that. But I wouldn't be seeking to snap him like during the game. If we're like 2-3-0 up, it's what it is. Game state. I think he'll have to play as well because Pau Torres, I think, went off injured. Konsa, who had been deputising as right back sometimes for kind of a more solid shape.
Advantage Villa.
He'll obviously have to play centre back, and Cash. Obviously, I don't really like him after what he's done to Precious, Matthew Doherty, and Bentancur. But he's also not a very good right back, especially defensively. He's one of the only players that I've seen post Winger Son still be able to cook up. Obviously Trippier and Cash, one of them, like he can still just go past him, even though he's just nowhere near the kind of standard of winger he was when he first joined Spurs. And I think we've got something for him. I really do, even if they did play midweek and they are going to be a bit tired and it's their biggest threat played 90 minutes. Papa Blanks asks the starting midfield. Ooh, that's an interesting one because the only contentious one is the right 8, right? You'd have to start Bentancur, wouldn't you? I would start Bentancur. The rest of the lineup is probably self-explanatory because I think Werner might have something for Villa. I just wanted to get onto their ridiculous offside traps, which caught us out in a very stupid way in the reverse fixture. Like we had like 3 or 4 really, really close decisions and goals disallowed because we just couldn't figure it out. But we have our forwards who, like Tops especially, has said they're just not good at receiving the ball to feet on numerous occasions, but they are very good at running in behind. So as long as we can time some of these passes right, I think even someone like Timo Werner could have something for them. Obviously persevered against Palace, should have had a penalty, got a goal. Should have had another goal if he rounded Sam Johnston, but yeah, it is what it is. Yeah, I actually see us winning this game. There's no way I would take a draw. I think we can win it 2-1 at least. Human Son, funny enough, has a good record there. I think Spurs in general have a decent record there. So, yeah, I can't lie. I fancy this. I think Porro might be returning as well. Richarlison will be in the squad if needed. Definitely wouldn't start him even if he was available. I just think we've got something for them, and that offside trap. I wasn't convinced by their Luton performance. It was all right, but yeah, I'd see us winning 2-1 or 3-1 to be honest. But yeah, Jack, what would you say your kind of initial prediction is? And I see Papa Blankson asking the starting midfield.
If SARS back issues have resolved itself, then I'll go with the old what we were doing earlier on in the season with Sar and Biss and Matters. And in terms of the result, I'm going to go for a 1-1. Only because I feel as hit and miss as we've been at home in recent months. I think we haven't played an away game in when's the last away game we played actually?
I just wanted to add, by the way, I think Longley is going to have to start for them.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Did you ask when our last away win was?
Yeah, away game. Because it was Nottingham Forest was our last away win, wasn't it?
Wait. Our last away game.
Our last away game in general.
Because
Everton. It was Everton away. Everton away.
2-2.
Yeah, that was a while back, wasn't it? And we drew that.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm going to go with the 1-1. I'm going to stick with the 1-1. I still think I think performance-wise, we need to see that high line again. I think Werner will be through on goal time and time again, but to what avail? Yeah, that's something we've got to see. I'm going to go 1-1. I don't think we'll. It depends how Villa also come back from the Ajax game as well, as you said. Thursday nights, not easy. The intensity of the game definitely differs. Is this Saturday or Sunday? We're playing on
It's Sunday 2 p.m.
Sunday 2 p.m.
2 p.m.
Flat atmosphere after a European game. We could have something for them.
It was an interesting one.
Yeah, we'll definitely create our chances. We'll definitely get in behind. We'll definitely play with the higher intensity. Not a higher intensity than them as being the away team, but we'll definitely play with a high enough intensity to get them pretty paranoid about what we can do. But I just don't think we'll be clinical in front of goal. But I do think we'll create chances. So I'm going to go with 1-1.
And you, Tops?
Yeah, man. All eyes on me, special part 1. All eyes on me, special part 1, man. Like, the thing about this game is that 11 games left, 2 points difference. We have to win this game to have any real chance of getting top 4, in my opinion. Whilst mathematically it's not over, I think psychologically it's a big difference for us if we don't leave Villa Park with a win, in my opinion. I feel like I'm not even going to speak about like battles across the pitch because I think, interestingly, both of us have been playing in a sort of a similar way, high lines, packed midfields, starting games pretty phonetically, games being sort of basketball-y in their nature, no real control, but it seems to have worked very well, and especially at home for them this season. I feel that Sarr has to play to crash it on at least Tillemans. I feel like Louise and McGinn are very competent and good midfielders, and I feel Madison and Bissouma have to arrive. They just have to arrive this weekend. When I think about Villa tonight, they played what, in my opinion, was a weakened team. Lots of players who generally come on as impact subs. Luca Digne, recently Diaby, Morgan Rogers. these are kind of players that they've been playing as subs. They all started tonight, and then obviously Pau Torres has picked something up for the looks of it, and Ezra Konsa got sent off, but obviously he'll be available. Tillemans played. The keeper that normally plays, Watkins played. So
Tielemans, Louise, and Watkins all played 90 minutes.
Yeah, they all played. So it's going to be interesting how the game goes on Sunday. We have to win. We have to win. And in my opinion, the game is going to be a goal fest. It's going to be a goal fest, for sure. When I think of the way Villa set up in the first half against Luton, and they almost gave that game away to Luton, but because of their ability, their knack to kind of score from any kind of position, they were able to win that game. Which, in my opinion, on the balance of things, they didn't deserve to. And I feel like the game against Tottenham is going to be just as chaotic and frenetic. And I think it's up to us to take control of that game and to make it ours. I don't feel particularly confident because Villa are very, very good at home. But I know that we have the ability to score goals. I just know we have the ability to score goals. What do I think it was going to probably end? I think one of the two teams wins 3-2, but I don't know who. I think one of the two teams wins 3-2. And also, this weekend, if you're ever going to put money on a bet, if you're ever going to put money on a bet, you need to put your money on Romero. Just trust me on this.
I thought you were going to say the offsides. That's
just trust me on this. If you're ever going to put money on a bet this weekend, you trust me this weekend. Just watch that right-hand side from a Romero, and you'll see. All right.
Matty Cash as well. I think you could put two different bets, maybe three. The offsides.
Yeah. Telling you, it's hilarious. I was reading this article that Romero in the week was saying how lots of players have said stuff to him. The club has said stuff to him, and he's done a lot better to try and keep himself calm and not get any stupid yellow cards. Trust me, that Romero is coming out this weekend. Listen, trust me. All right? Trust me. Okay? But yeah, I think one of the teams wins. It's going to be a goal fest. It's going to be a goal fest. One of the teams wins 3-2, and I can't confidently say who does. I'm nervous. I'm genuinely nervous because I honestly feel if we win this game, we will get top four. I think fully believe it.
We'll need to get top four to get Champions League. You see that crybaby Italian and Brighton getting absolutely pumped in the conference, in the Europa League even.
If we do not win this
game, and I think honestly, Italy are still leading the extra slot. Even before tonight's game, they were leading that extra slot for a fifth place finisher to get Champions League football. I'm certain that's right. So it looks almost nailed on now, unless obviously Man City and Arsenal go really far in the Champions League. So yeah, sort of hoping for something on that side. But that'll wrap it up, gents. All Eyes on Me will be the theme of that Sunday for sure. Thank you for joining us on this lovely stream, Jack, Tops, and all of you concurrent live watchers. It's been a really good watch this evening. We might have to do the Friday ones more often. But yeah, for once again, just for the housekeeping as well. To not forget, New Spurs Order on Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, X. Follow us on there. The audio version of this obviously comes out every Saturday. There is a version with no ads as well, which comes out. So yeah, keep a lookout for that. And yeah, for now, peace and come on, you Spurs.
Peace.
Wow. I'm so glad you came up with the All Eyes on Me thing. Because they actually mentioned that on the main pod, didn't they? Like, oh, you got the All Eyes on Me start. And I was just like, oh shit, yeah, we do.
Yeah. It's not good. 2:00 and then the Liverpool City game. Oh, God.
So I'm
What
the
a
one
crazy.
slacking with my visuals and the mic now. You two have absolutely patterned yours. Yeah, I need to level up mine. I'll probably be better off doing it off my phone, to be honest. It's fucking Google Pixel. It's just a mic.
Yeah, Google Pixel's got a good camera,
Yeah, it's
hasn't it?
decent. It's decent to be
Yeah,
fair.
don't get this webcam. It's too wide angle. You can see the whole damn flipping room.
I'm sure you can
Yeah.
change that in the settings, though. Surely you can change the frame in the settings.
It's one of those I got. You remember during lockdown when webcams were super expensive? I got it then, and I had to go for the cheapest one. That was
Microphones were as well, weren't they? You couldn't get a Yeti under £100. I was like,
no,
oh, okay,
no,
fine.
it was awful. This one's it's so wide angle. It doesn't need to be.
Yeah, like a nice
Webcam
place
needs to
though.
be that wide.
Looks very warm. Is it sorry?
Yeah.
Oh,
It's,
yeah. Sorry.
yeah,
Yeah, very nice.
yeah.
Very
It's,
nice.
that the sofa's ours. That's our sofa. So that's one of the few things that's ours in this house.
All right. Well, I told the missus I'll be done by 10, and I've not
All right.
come through on that,
Cool.
have I? So, oops. I'll make up for it with my whimsical charm, I'm sure.
Cheers. Thank you for today, lads.
Yeah.
Because
You're a good one, man.
40
Next time.
plus, 40 plus concurrent watches without times is actually quite an achievement. It's just, oh fuck me, we're still live. Bye.